Welcome back to Suburban Homesteader, Wyoming, Arizona. Did you ever find an old book? Maybe you'd gone through to a bookstore, or you're going through your grandparents' things and you find an old book and you're thumbing through the pages and you find pressed flowers. I just am so excited when I find that. And I often wish the book could tell me all about that flower, why the person saved it, what was happening in their lives. Well, today we're going to make some flower presses. I had some walnut wood, and so Joe cut it for me and drilled some holes. And I'm going to show you how I put them together and how I use them. So let's go make some. Well, the first thing you have to do is have the flowers or the leaves. And don't forget weeds, because they can be very interesting when you press them. And so I just wandered around the garden today, picking different ones. A lot of times I try to have some flat ones. And these are the ones that I picked. I just put them on a napkin when I got back. And I'm gonna cut a cardboard box. And that's what I'm gonna use for part of the inside, because when you make a flower press, it's really a matter of layering. It's like lasagna. And so I am just cutting some cardboard that will match the size of my flower press. And you can use whatever you want to cut, scissors, knife, anything to score the cardboard. And I like to go out and get my flowers after the morning has got the dew off. Now, see how that fits my flower press, okay? And so I want just a little bit smaller than my wood. And I need to be able to cut the corners of the cardboard so that my bolts can still go through and hold everything together. So I lay the cardboard down, then the flower press, and I'm just marking the holes with a pen so that I know exactly where I need to put my triangles. And this piece of cardboard actually is going to become my template. And so I'm just going to take another piece of cardboard, cut a triangle, and then I'll use that triangle that I cut all the way around so they're exactly the same. I don't want some triangles larger or smaller than the other ones. And so I'm just going to take a pair of scissors and I am just going to cut that off. And that is going to be a little template. And so I'm just going to go around my rectangle, marking that triangle on all four corners so that when I go to cut it, it's all exactly the same. And it's important to have that center part of your flower press like a complete sandwich. And so I'm just going to cut those corners off, and that way I can take all of my pieces of cardboard, the rectangles that I've already cut, and use it as a template, and every single thing will be the same. And see, you want to make sure that your bolts can easily go through and not bump into the cardboard. It's real important that it stays that way. So here's 7, 8 different pieces of cardboard. I'm not quite sure how many I will use yet. And I need paper towels or some kind of absorbent paper. But paper towels works perfect. I have 4 layers here, and I'm just going to mark it so I can get as many pieces of paper out of this paper towel as possible. And I think I should be able to get 3 across. I don't think I can get 4, but we'll see as we measure going across. And just a simple line will mark that. But see, when I get to the end, it's not big enough for a 4th one. So I'm going to mark an X, and that is the very first one that I'm going to cut, because I want to put it to the side and I don't want it to get mixed up with my other papers. So we're just going to put it over there, and then we can cut the 3 strips. So we will have 12 pieces of paper. Now if you need more, you just cut more. But we're going to see if that's going to be enough for our flower press. So we're going to stack them all on top. We're going to put our template and see how it fits on there. Fits good. We're just going to center that perfectly. And I'm going to just draw little lines just in case my template moves a little bit so I can adjust it again. Now, it's an easier thing if you put another piece of cardboard that is exactly as the top template, squeeze it together like a sandwich, and just cut it. The paper is less likely to move, and you don't have to recut paper towels then. So I'm just cutting all the corners. I'm going to cut a little bit on the ends because it's a little bit longer than what my cardboard is. And it's perfect. See, it's like a sandwich, like an ice cream sandwich. Only you don't eat it. Okay, now these are my bolts. And you can use carriage bolts, you can use any kind of bolt you want, but you want to make sure you have a washer on the bottom, and you're going to send it through the bottom of your flower press. So each one has a bolt and a washer. We're just sliding those through, and then we can make the center of our flower press. So the first thing that goes down is a piece of cardboard. You don't want the moisture from the flowers to sit on your wood. You don't want to have any molding or wetness on your wood, so the piece of cardboard. Then you're going to take your first piece of paper towel. And between each cardboard, you're going to have 2 paper towels because you want to be able to have paper on the bottom of the flower and paper on the top. So let's just sandwich it together first, and then I'll show you how I actually do the flowers. And it's just a matter of layering. You have cardboard, you have 2 pieces of paper towel, you have cardboard. And you just stack it as high as you want to on your flower press. And I think I should be able to get, probably about 6 layers on there. Because you always want to remember that once you put the flowers in there, it's going to take up more space than when it's just the cardboard and the paper. And so you don't want to stack it so high and then you have extra and you don't know what to do with. If you're very organized, you can put it in a drawer and you'll always know where it is. But I'm not sure everybody does that. Okay, so that we're putting in our last layer, 2 layers of paper towels, 1 cardboard, and then we can put our top on. And all you're going to do is line up those holes so that those bolts will go right through them. And then you're going to press it down a little bit, because then we're going to put another washer and we're going to put a nut. And you can use a lot of different kinds of nuts. See how it's sandwiched together? And the bolts are secure and it's even. That's what you want to look for. Okay, now if you were going to put your flowers in today, you're going to actually start at the bottom. So we'll have a piece of cardboard, a paper towel, and then we're going to start putting our flowers. Now, I just put the flowers in between 2 pieces of paper while I'm filming, and when I go to lay the flowers down, I'm actually going to lay them face down on how I want to look at them, because it's easier to position the petals if you do it that way. And you can move the petals around exactly where you want them, how you want the stem to come off of the flower, and it just works really well. Now you can use flowers, leaves, herbs, whatever you want to. And if you're looking at it as you laid it down and you want to move some of those petals, just pick it back up, move the petals around to be exactly how you want it to dry. Now this is a marigold leaf. Now I wouldn't press a marigold, but I love the leaves and they can make some really great pictures. And so I want to keep it. And then when I was picking flowers, I found a dead native bee. And it looks like a little fuzzball, actually. And so I'm going to dry that also, because I think it can be interesting in my flower arrangement. Now this is a weed. And a lot of times we just forget about the weeds, but they can have some spectacular flowers or leaves. And so we're just going to arrange that. Now you could do it so that all your violets or all your pansies went on one row, 1 layer. All your leaves went on 1 layer. But I just have a few and I'm just going to arrange them how I want to. When you get done with that, you're going to put a piece of paper towel and then you're going to put the cardboard. So the flowers are always in between paper towels or some kind of absorbent paper. It's really important. And paper towels, try to get the thickest ones that you can. And then we're just going to do another layer. I'm going to move those leaves the way I want them to be positioned, and I'm going to lay it face down. And you can just bend and manipulate the leaves. I never pick the flowers if it's really early morning because there's too much dew on them. Now this is a succulent, which would probably be too wet to do regularly, but if you pull it apart, it will dry in between the layers of paper towel and cardboard. And a lot of succulents can have some very cool variegated leaves or scalped edges, and so they're fun to add. And you can just rearrange them back to what they originally look like after they're dry. So we're going to make sure everything's positioned. We're going to put another paper towel and another piece of cardboard. Now sometimes when I'm drying them, it's going to take up the entire space. So I'm going to put a paper towel and I'm going to break that off, that stem off, so it just fits in there. And that's the only thing I'm going to put on that row. Put the paper towel and the piece of cardboard. And it's just layering again. But remember, when you're putting the flowers on, it's going to get thicker and thicker. So then I'm going to put everything back and we're going to sandwich it all together. And the flower press, we're going to press as tight as we can, and it will crush, well, not crush, but it will flatten those flowers, leaves, herbs that we're using. Okay, so we're going to put the washers on and we're going to put the nuts. You can use regular nuts, you can use wing nuts. Totally up to you. And it's just a matter of screwing those onto it. And once you get them semi-tight all the way around, then it's easy to press hard and tighten them a little bit more. You can just stand up, press, use your weight to press down on there, and you can see how you can just tighten those up. And as the flowers dry, every few weeks, just check on if you need to tighten it more. And you just want it to be solid. You can see where that plant is sticking out. That'll completely dry. Now here's a flower press that's just bought. It has absorbent paper, it has the cardboard, it has the bolt. It uses wing nuts, but see, their wood is not sealed either. It does have a design on it. And then I found this wood at the secondhand store, and I thought, perfect, I could make some square flower presses. So you can use a lot of scrap wood to make them. But here we go, we got all three of them done, and I'm going to tell you how you can win them. And they aren't varnished, so you can finish them however you want, or you can leave them just the way they are. Well, here we are, 3 flower presses. Now the reason that I make them this size, one, it was perfect for this wood. Otherwise I probably would have used pine. And it's great, I can just put it in a bag or a backpack. We're up in the hills, we're on the prairie. And if I find some special flowers, or not just flowers, sometimes it's leaves that I find, I can put them in there. And I'm going to give these away. One of them is going to one of my members. So members, all you have to do is make a comment. I know that you're a member. One of them is going to any of my subscribers. Make a comment. And in a week's time, I am going to draw for these. And the third one is for Bubba. You know, I'm sending him the box of stickers at the end of the month. And Bubba, this is for you. I think it will be fun. And you can seal these however you want to, or just leave them the way they are. Most of mine aren't painted or sealed. They're just the wood. Totally up to you. But some of the fun things you can do with pressed flowers, of course you can use them in scrapbooking, in your journals, in your diaries. But you can put them in picture frames. A lot of times people will take flowers out of bouquets at a wedding and remake that bouquet as pressed flowers. You can make a sun catcher by putting 2 pieces of glass with the pressed flowers in between. Put it in your window. But you can decoupage pressed flowers in all kinds of ways. Maybe you just want to put it after it's dried in a special book. It takes a little while depending on the thickness of the flower. The thicker it is, the longer it takes to dry. And so it's just a matter of waiting, but it's really not that long. And I always find that if I do it in the summertime, when it's winter time and I'm making crafts for Christmas, they're all ready. One of the fun things also to do with them is using them when you're making cards or stationery. And it's just a fun thing to do. And I don't find these very often in the stores anymore. You can get them online. It's fun to make. Now you don't have to have expensive wood like this walnut wood. You can use any kind of pine, any kind of scrap wood that you have laying around. And these ones are small, but a lot of mine that I have are 1 foot by 1 foot. I still only have 4 bolts in there, and it tightens it enough so that all the flowers dry the way they're supposed to. So if you'd like to win, if you're a member, make a comment. If you're a subscriber, make a comment. If you're Bubba, you don't have to do anything. I'm just going to send it to you. Everyone have a great day. Oh, I should tell you, the person that won my garlic rosemary jelly has not contacted me. I'm going to give it away too. So in a week's time, today's Thursday, next Thursday, I'm going to give away these plus my jar of jelly. I will see you next time.